Hey guys, welcome back to the Miracosta Filmmakers podcast. I'm Kim.
I'm Tim.
I'm Jessica. I hope everyone is having a swell day.
I'm so excited. It's the last day of the semester for everyone. We are done with all of our finals.
Yes.
And we're going to try and meet up whenever we can, even over break, to do the podcast. So, yeah. Friends.
Yes.
So, have we all finally seen the Joker movie?
Yes. I was the last one to see it, and I saw it when it's like just barely in theaters anymore. Like, all the theaters I tried to go to didn't even have it. I had to go to the one Regal in Oceanside because that was the only theater that was showing it that was near us. So, yeah, and then I saw it there, so.
Yeah, and I actually heard that this one theater, I can't remember which one, but they brought it back for a week in theaters or something. Maybe it was like in San Diego or in LA or whatever.
I wonder what the DVD sales are going to be for that. Or just, the digital sales also. Like, just people buying it online. Like, I think they're going to, make a bundle when that just comes out. If it's not out already. That's the other thing, too. But, yeah.
Do you guys, I don't know, this may have been, you might have been too young, but do you guys remember when it used to be like months after a video was in theaters to come out onto either DVD or VHS?
Usually it ranged from 1 to 3 months depending on how good the movie actually was.
Oh yeah, I was thinking maybe, I thought it was 6 months at one time. That could have just been me.
Certain movies would be half a year. I'd mainly say that's the blockbuster would mainly be the big half a year.
That was back when people actually cared about DVDs.
And
and especially VHSs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and going to the movies, because theaters nowadays, for most people, it's not a matter of price, it's just a matter of, is the movie worth watching? If it's not the big blockbuster one, am I willing to pay the same price just to kind of sit around and watch a movie that I'd watch on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah, movies tend to come out, less than a month after they're in theaters now?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
I saw pretty much Jurassic World and Ant-Man, both of them, I think 3 months after they came out, and both of them were on the last day, from pretty much the last theater I could find.
Yeah.
And when you're watching those movies, even on the last day, there's still people, going into the theater to watch it. And I'm just wondering, on the first day, when a movie comes out, is it worth it to just kind of cram it into other theaters and stuff, or is it just better to kind of just wait it out? Should people just wait till, the very end, when all the hype is gone? Or should they just get it over
boom,
with?
Shove it back in your face.
Exactly, yeah.
So, yeah. Joker movie. Jessica, what did you think about it?
I really enjoyed it. I think this year has been a crappy year for movies. Really, really shitty, I'm not gonna lie. Too many remakes, too many reboots, too many unoriginal, bland
it's
things.
that's all there is nowadays.
That's all there is now, and it's almost all the movies that have come out this year have been from freaking Disney, and I'm like, oh my god, Disney, get out of my face. But this was good, and I know it's just another DC, Marvel, whatever superhero type movie, but this one didn't feel like a like a DC movie at all. It just feels like a normal, human story. It was
classified as a character study.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like about it. It's not like Suicide Squad where it's just some weird villain story. It's about an actual just human character who is just turning bad, or it's kind of like an actual sociopath and how they turn bad or whatever. It's very realistic in the way that it shows the psychology of it, instead of just oh look, here's this villain who's just gonna go and kill a bunch of people and do bad things. It's not all unrealistic like that. So.
Yeah, they show us why he is the way he is.
Exactly.
What happened. So which really kind of stuck out in my mind is that I swear this could be the ultimate. This could possibly be a really great cautionary tale This movie made me walk out of the theater feeling like I want to be a bit more compassionate and more considerate to people, because you never know what they're going through.
Yeah.
You never know if you just don't know what someone's going through, and it takes, as we see in this movie, one bad day for someone to fucking snap.
Yeah.
So I just it just makes me want to be a bit more considerate.
That's how I felt when I watched Rambo for the first time, and that was just like 2 or 3 years ago. And
Rambo?
Yeah, Rambo. Well,
Rambo.
Well, like the being more the dealing with internal stress and psychological issues, being considerate of others, like in that aspect. More actually about Rambo 2 when it's talking about the Vietnam veterans who were prisoners of war.
Yeah.
Like when you're doing these character pieces and you're focusing on the psychological effects that are affecting these people, without having a mental POV or reading their thoughts, and you just have to see what they visually do, it's kind of interesting to look back at yourself and say, would I do those things, or how would I treat that person? I got that from Rambo, actually, in the movie that closely resembles that type of feeling.
Yeah, he I have to admit though, after watching someone else's review of the Joker, they also did kind of bring up some stuff that made me think this character of Arthur Fleck, he does display some characteristics and traits of both delusions of grandeur or kind of narcissism in a sense. But in my experience when researching narcissism and things like NPD and other cluster Bs, apart from psychopaths, which are born, sociopaths and narcissism, NPDs, they're actually made through years of trauma and abuse and stuff. And then we find out that this character, Arthur Fleck, had been traumatized and abused, and it's I can clearly see that he's possibly created certain coping mechanisms, like the uncontrollable laughter, where we're starting to realize that maybe he doesn't actually have that condition, but he actually out of a coping mechanism, he actually kind of manifested it himself.
Yeah.
And it actually ended up coming into being. So I thought
something that I really enjoyed about the movie was just the character development and how he just evolved throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Because you can just see how he just turns more and more crazy throughout the movie.
That's what I was thinking.
It was good writing.
Yeah, I thought they displayed his character arc amazingly, and it's so sinister that over the course of the film he finally starts to spread his wings, but in a very morbid and sinister way, and he's just so free. And then Todd Phillips and or Joaquin Phoenix, the director and actor, I think they both had talked and stated in interviews is that when developing Arthur Fleck's character, they said that he kind of always, they felt, had music in him, hence the making of the dancing on the stairwell scene. So I thought that they did a really great job of making this character kind of they basically made him he kind of embraces his shadow. Unfortunately, he fails to integrate his shadow, so he ends up giving into it and acting on it and becoming the shadow, which is not really something we're supposed to do. Just saying. But combined with the fact that he went cold turkey off of his meds, which can really fuck a person up.
I was wondering if he also got medications mixed up, secondarily, because
with his and his mother's.
That's what I was thinking was because very often people they have different effects pretty much for any type of medication. But what kind of got me was his change in tone, especially towards the later half of the movie. He was often pretty much throughout, but he was pretty soft spoken, and that's something that you didn't get from the trailer. But when he's really starting to go down that path after each layered action, like you can just kind of see the degradation and severity in his voice, and that's something that I kind of had to look at, especially like I go back and I rewatch trailers after I see a movie, and that's something that they didn't quite get a lot in turn. Like, you don't see the serious aspects, except I think the scene where you see the back. That one. I felt that the trailer did a good job pulling audiences in, but not really the tone that Arthur kind of felt, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the movie does an excellent job of making us feel for him, even though like he's doing terrible things later on in the movie. It's something that and I think that all stories that know how to write anti-heroes do an excellent job at this. I'm intrigued by just stories that have good anti-heroes. They know how to like write their characters in a way so that you feel like they're justified for their actions.
Yeah,
because you see the shit that they're going through, and you can write them from their point of view, so then you understand that character.
Yeah.
And you can see in the beginning of the movie how he does have like a good heart, and he's taking care of his mom, and and then when he's like laughing uncontrollably, he like gives that card to the woman to let them know, so he's like apologizing for the way that he is and stuff. So he cares about people, and he doesn't want to bother people in the beginning of the movie. And then, later on, he just kind of slowly starts to snap because he's getting abused. He's getting, like, kicked on the streets and stuff. And he's understandably getting more and more, pissed off and angry through the shit that he's going through.
If we could go back to anti-hero, like that type of concept for filmmaking, if you're looking at, like, many movies, like, let's say, like, Pirates of the Caribbean or Megamind or Deadpool or even Venom, and you're looking at all these different anti-heroes, they almost always have comedy and like humor as the relating factor for the character. But Joker, it was pain. Yeah, it's like you felt the empathy for the character, and that's something you don't get really in these movies. That you don't really emphasize pain unless it's my dog died, my family member died, you destroyed the cure or the the thing that I needed. It's only when it's their want or their desire that's hurt that you feel hurt. It's not really that they're hurting and you're empathizing with that and you understand that hurting process.
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
All right. That was fun.
Yeah.
I thought it was a great movie, and there's nothing's been greenlit from what I've heard so far, but there are talks of a Joker sequel. Kind of iffy on it. I don't think
the ending was just so perfect to the movie. I don't think
they'll be able to top that.
I think they could,
but that's just me.
If they put it in Arkham, like if they actually have a real psychologist come in or a group of them and analyze Joker.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. What if they actually did a very realistic take on the Harley Quinn character? That would be really interesting.
That would have to be at the end, because in all honesty, you could. There's like probably 4 big psychological doctors, and like if you were to go with DC Comics, that are pretty prevalent for stories. But if you were to just take psychologists, like let's say we have it grounded, there's not really that many reoccurring characters, but it's just. You just take real psychologists, you have them analyze the script, analyze the character, give their feedback, and just show or try to understand how a person goes down this route. And what you do is you just do the opposite. You have them give the wrong interpretations of Joker. You have them try to give him shock therapy or something for something he doesn't need.
And then he just goes even more.
Even more? Yeah.
Which is something that they pretty much probably did years and years ago, and in the worst, and in the 1920s or 40s or the early 1900s, and definitely the 1800s as well.
And they could do a character study on asylum patients in that aspect. That would be interesting.
Yeah. So Tim, you haven't seen it. We're gonna jump to Frozen 2.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Frozen 2, I saw it Thanksgiving, and then Jessica just saw it. When did you see it?
A while ago. I totally forgot.
Was it like last week or something?
I don't know.
So, alright. So, do you want to go first, Jess?
Yeah. So the movie definitely has mixed reviews. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
I am one of the people who didn't care for it. And along with the first Frozen, I wasn't a big fan of the first Frozen either. But, I just saw it anyways. And I do think that this movie had a lot of problems with, and the blah, 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 blah. So, this movie did have a lot of problems, and the main problem that I've always had with the Frozen series is that there's no, clear main protagonist.
Yeah, that's something that I was kind of bummed out to find out as well.
Yeah.
So, should we talk about spoilers?
Yes.
Are you good, Tim?
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Could I just say one thing real quick?
Mm-hmm.
Going back to just Disney and Pixar, they also seem to kind of the villains have kind of been getting a little bit lower in quality.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, I agree. Yeah, or more obscure. This, Frozen 2, for example, there was no real villain. There was no actual antagonist.
Well,
it was more to deal with the elements and internal shit or whatever. And I was actually really kind of bummed out that
yeah, the whole story was very strange.
Yeah,
I didn't really care for it.
Yeah, so my personal opinion, I was really kind of let down to find out that the voice, spoiler alerts, that the voice, which we hear in the very first part of the film, which is what Elsa, has her ears get perked up or whatever, she starts hearing this voice calling out to her. I was really kind of, bummed out and kind of upset to find out that it wasn't an actual person that was calling out to her. That, long story short, it was kind of one of those movies where it was inside you the whole time or whatever, and you're the fifth spirit or element or whatever, and I'm just dude, come on.
Thing with Elsa, I've always found her a very fascinating character.
Yeah.
How she can do all this cool Frozen shit.
Yeah.
That's the name of the movie.
Yeah.
But how she sings her songs. I think she's a cool character, but she has really crappy development.
Yeah,
and that's because
I thought she was kind of a little too timid.
Yeah.
And depressing a little bit. It's dude, you're queen, everyone loves you or whatever.
And that's because the movie focuses
come out of your shell a bit
more on Anna. I think Anna is the main protagonist, but I don't like that because they advertise in the merch and stuff. The movie's all about Elsa. Everyone likes Elsa. So if the movie's they're glamorizing
Anna.
Elsa, then why don't they make Elsa more exciting? I was looking forward to the second Frozen movie actually focusing more on Elsa and making, Elsa, giving her more development. There were all those rumors about how Elsa was going to have, a female significant other.
Yeah, I was
gay. But
yeah.
Disney can't have gay people because of Chinese censorship, so...
Fuck China, dude.
Yes,
seriously?
fuck China.
Fuck China.
Because they can't show gays in China. Oh my god. So...
Speaking of China... Mulan.
Wait, what?
Mulan, the trailer for that drop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
Did we talk about that a little bit last time?
I was just really disappointed.
Yeah.
That, I thought... I really wanted them to do something cool with Elsa. I thought that idea of having Elsa be gay would have been really cool.
Yeah.
I wanted them to explore her character more.
Yeah, I wanted another magical being with magical powers that would kind of... Because it was kind of a letdown because it turns out the only other magical elements were kind of side dishes or whatever. There were a few different elements, like that little fire lizard, which I thought was cute as fuck, not gonna lie. And then there was that wind spirit, and then the knock, I think. It was the horse spirit for water, which was really, really cool. That was actually a huge breakthrough for Pixar animation stuff, the development of that horse character, and then those giant trolls and stuff. So
the whole scene where Elsa goes out and into the waves and she tries to ride on the horse and everything, that was a really cool scene.
Yeah.
Like, that was definitely the
that
best
was really
part of the
scary
movie.
too. That was nuts. That
Yeah.
was a really great movie or scene.
Like, the animation, definitely top notch. So that was definitely the good part of the movie, the animation.
So,
But
yeah, there was one specific scene that it was cool, but I thought I didn't like it because it took me out of the movie, and it was just too much. It was not cheesy, but like,
was it the part with Kristoff singing?
yeah, that
That
whole
was
sequence.
so bad. Oh my god. I totally zoned out.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a cool concept and it was done really well, but the scene in general, it took me out of the movie. I'm just like, don't get me wrong,
I was just daydreaming.
Yeah, I loved the 80s references and stuff because it was modeled after like Queen music videos like Bohemian Rhapsody and stuff like that, but I'm just like, this I wish this wasn't in the movie.
It was just
because it
stupid.
seriously took me out. It took me out of the movie. I'm just like, this kind of is ruining it for me.
Yeah.
I heard that his significance in the movie also wasn't that like he wasn't a significant character.
He was definitely in it.
Yeah, he was just
but
trying
it's
to
just
propose to Anna the entire movie, and it was just kind of like they were just using him for comedy, really.
Right.
And it was just kind of like these little jokes on the side.
He just seemed like filler content.
Yeah,
that's what
that's the movie had a lot of filler content. Like it relied a lot on kind of making jokes and references to the last movie and doing things like that. And there was kind of way too much of Olaf. I have to say that. Like, Olaf was in this movie way more than the last movie, and he was just kind of being really obnoxious. I think Olaf is great for kids.
And not only that, but
he's annoying to adults.
But spoiler alert, he dies, but I just, like, I kind of didn't really care. Because I kind of guessed that it was going to happen. Like, someone was going to die or whatever.
Yeah.
The fact that basically Elsa follows the voice, discovers that, like, I guess it was like a manifestation of her mother calling her to her, or calling her some shit or whatever. Elsa ends up getting frozen herself.
Yeah.
And then since Elsa's, well, not dead or whatever, but
it
incapacitated.
reminds me of what happened in the last movie where Anna got frozen.
It's an actual call to that. So basically, when Elsa gets frozen, Olaf dies, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, kind of saw it coming.
Yeah.
So, of course, they had to kill off a beloved character
from the last movie.
Yeah.
Like, the whole idea where basically Elsa was, running off and being emo, just like she was in the last movie.
Which I'm just like, dude, get your shit together.
And Anna was, like, going after her and trying to save her. And was the exact same plot of the last movie.
Yeah.
And it was like basically, Elsa like, I have to go do my powers and do all that stuff.
I can't let you.
And it was
come
like,
with
no,
me. You're
I
gonna
can't.
get hurt.
You have to, we have to do our stuff together. We're sisters.
Same shit,
it was
different
like
day.
the same stuff and just like a different type of plot. But, and the plot wasn't as good.
Yeah. So the plot basically in general was very obscure, and I don't think
it was confusing.
Yeah. It didn't fly.
It was. I found it hard to follow. Like. I was following it through like the first half, and then the second half I just got really confused because I just started going off track. Especially like the part with Kristoff singing the song. There was just parts that were just unnecessary, and I just started zoning out, and I just couldn't follow where it was going.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I thought it was okay. I thought the music was okay as well.
Yeah, the music was pretty good.
I, of course, downloaded 2 songs. The song Show Yourself that she actually does with the mother character, which Anna and Elsa's parents actually get more screen time. They get more dialogue. We actually hear them speak and shit, which is really fantastic. And we learn about who they were. Mm-hmm. So that was a really cool thing that happened. So there's like basically a duet that Elsa sings with the mother character called Show Yourself. I thought it was really cool. And then there's Into the Unknown, which is just like, oh my god, I love it.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, love it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But those songs were nowhere near as good as Let It Go.
Oh, of course.
Like the movie didn't have a Let It Go moment.
Yeah. and I'm not gonna lie, there's that one scene where Elsa is, basically she finds out where the voice is, and she sees all of those, like, manifestations of events that happened in the past, like Hans and Kristoff and Anna or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she comes across one of her own singing "Let It Go," and she like kind of cringes a little bit.
Yeah.
She's like, "Ugh, stop it."
Oh my god, that was fun.
That was
yeah,
really funny.
I'm not gonna lie. Even though the movie did make a lot of like references and callbacks to the last movie, and it kind of relied too much on that, it was pretty funny.
Yeah,
like.
There were a lot of really funny moments.
Yeah, there's a whole scene where Olaf just recaps the entire last movie, and that was just like so hilarious.
Yeah, that was great.
And and then there was that scene where they were playing charades. Do you remember that? And then like they
Anna's just like, I don't think Olaf should get to rearrange.
Yeah,
it's not fair.
And then they called and then they were trying to like recreate like Hans, I think, and then they called it like the worst mistake of Anna's life. And, oh my god, that was so funny.
Right.
I think that kind of also like ties into the show. Like, okay, do you think like part of the reason why Olaf's character was also kind of just oversaturated was because of the Olaf's Frozen Adventure, the short before Coco, like when that came out, like people just had their fill of it already.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I definitely think that, especially. Should we talk about the shorts? Like the shorts before, does the Disney animation studios have shorts also, or is it just Pixar?
I think it's just Pixar. Disney Animation Studios. They might have some. You might want to look it up.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
What else? What do we want to do?
Let's talk about The Fault in Our Planning Stars teen movies.
Yeah, and it's 12:14 right now. I think I only reserved it for like 12:30.
Okay.
So just want to talk about a little bit about teens portrayed in movies. Mm-hmm. Long story short,
there's lots of cliches.
Oh my god!
Over again.
Yeah, there's the typical angsty teenager, which I swear is literally every single person under the age of 20 in movies and TVs nowadays.
Or the really shy character, like, in Wallflower, or you have the sex drive character, American Pie, or you have the person with no emotion, Twilight.
Yeah.
And every single...
and then there's like that whole...
a little problem that I have. Every single movie that's about like a high school takes place in an indoor high school, and not all high schools are indoor. A lot of schools, especially in California, are outdoor.
Yeah, and not only that, but like they all have lockers.
All have lockers.
And
not every school has lockers.
Had lockers for PE class. But other than that, we did not have lockers at all.
No one. I haven't been to a school that's had full. You can stuff a person in them lockers. They're more like those ones at Legoland where you just you get a tag, you swipe and you can fit your purse, you can fit a bag in there, and just it's like a size of like a small dog. It's not. Yeah, you don't get that much room. You can't even really put your books in them. Yeah.
So for like when I was in high school and even in middle school, we didn't even have lockers. We only had lockers for PE, and they were like not even a foot by foot locker. They're really small.
Going into also like for those teen movies, kind of like a couple inaccuracies or just weird things too. Like it's either early 2000s where pretty much it's like the same people are on the phone the same way acting as they would be with a flip phone. Like people, they might put in a couple more text and things like that, but I'm kind of looking through a couple right now, and there's like, okay, I'm looking at like a couple older movies. Like there's Freaky Friday, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What was that one about the girls getting revenge? What was that one?
Mean Girls.
Mean Girls, yeah.
That one.
Yeah,
that was,
I would say.
Real quick, little side note: if you want to know what a dictator actually is like,
Regina George.
Yeah, she's literally either NPD or histrionic.
She's such a complex character.
Oh yeah.
I heard.
Not that.
Yeah, like I heard that for Rachel McAdams' character, like in order for her to prepare for that role, like, she had to listen to a bunch of Hole's music, you know, like Courtney Love. You know, like, she had to listen to that band because it's so angry, and her character is, like, a really angry character that's, like, full of angst and, like, wants revenge towards everybody. Yeah. So, you know, and even though, like, on the outside, Regina's character is very, like, just nice, and she acts all sweet and puts on a fake smile, but inside her character is just, like, full of this anger. Yeah. And so that's why at the end of the movie, you know, she has to channel all of her anger through, like, sports and stuff to, like, get it all out instead of, like, talking shit about everyone in school. So
yeah, there's this really, really great YouTube video that I came across. It's called Mean Girls, Regina George, The Psychology of a Dictator.
I've seen that.
I am obsessed with that. Yeah. With that video. It's absolutely fascinating. I just couldn't recommend it enough if you guys want to check that out. Yeah. But, I also think that a bigger classic, well, not classic, but, like, another character that's very common in, like, teen characters nowadays is, like, the very sarcastic kind, like Juno. Mm-hmm. You know, how she was, like, constant sarcasm and wittiness or whatever, which, like, there are a lot of sarcastic teenagers or whatever out there, but, like, that one was just, like, take sarcasm and drop kick it off of a football field or something. Like, punt it across a football field. Yeah. That was obnoxious.
Like, can you give me some examples? Like, what are some sarcastic teenagers that you've seen in recent shows and movies?
Well, I can't think of any off the top of my head, of course. Like, being put on the spot, whatever. But, the type of teenagers I feel are really angsty, or they just fucking Riverdale, horrendous writing. There's this line that one of those, like, famous twin brothers or whatever, Cody, what's his fucking face?
Oh my god, Cole Sprouse.
So there's this line where he's a perfect example. Yeah. One of those angsty, emo riddled, fucking sarcastic teenagers, and the writing for this line was that, in case you haven't heard, I'm weird. Yeah. Like, really? Are you fucking kidding me? Wow. Give the writer's room a fucking Golden Globe for that shit.
You either have the teens wanting to get revenge, like Revenge of the Nerds. You're either having them wanting to get sex, like in, I think, Sex Drive or American Pie.
Oh my god, that movie was fucking hysterical.
You either have dramas where it's about almost like, it's not Legally Blonde, but where, like, in Mean Girls, where it's about pretty much like a mini society where if you're ostracized for doing something different, it's like you're in Salem. It's like high school Salem.
Easy A.
Sense. Yeah, Easy A.
Perfect example of that. Yeah. Literally.
Or you have fantasy, which, I'll be honest, it's more in terms for women, in a sense. Like, you have Twilight, Freaky Friday, Aquamarine. Those are more just kind of weird stuff. I remember Beast was kind of big for certain people. Is Harry Potter a teen movie?
Oh, yeah. But that is something that I really, really enjoy, because that's one of those few franchises where they actually, in both the books and the movies, they do a fantastic job of showing these young characters, these kids, grow and mature over the course of the series in both the books and the movies.
Now, I haven't seen The Hunger Games. Was that one also pretty good?
I think so. Yeah, I don't really remember. I think I've only seen the first two, and only once. So I wasn't really I never really got into the Hunger Games. I think they're fascinating. I think I might actually want to read the book. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the last one, though.
Okay.
I'm so tired of, like, teen shows with really cheesy acting and just overly dramatized.
Yeah,
just
the writing. The writing, like, I hear nothing but bad things about the Riverdale writing.
Isn't Disney doing a reboot of High School Musical?
They're doing... Okay, so I think they're doing...
I never understood what was so great about High School Musical. I found it really, really crappy.
Or Camp Rock.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Camp Rock when I was a kid, because I fell in love with Demi Lovato. I'm not going to lie.
So they're doing a High School Musical, the TV series.
Oh wow.
Which I guess takes
But it's
place
with a
at a
whole
high
new cast,
schooler.
right?
Yeah, I think it takes place at a high school where they're casting for a high school musical. So I think it's like one of those movies within, or like stories within a story or something. I don't know much about it. High School Musical, the series. The students from the school where the High School Musical films are shot stage a musical production based on franchise. The fuck?
That sounds way too meta to be good.
Sounds like a cash grab.
Why now? Why if it was like a year after it came out, like the last one, like what was it, High School Musical 3, whatever, when that came out, that would be okay. That would be okay for a Disney series, but that's on Disney Plus, right? Or
Probably.
or a service like that. But when it's been when did that come out? The first one was 2007, so it's practically been like 12 years, at least over 10 years. It's been over 10 years since that movie came out. Why would you make a TV series now? That makes no sense.
Please just put it out of its misery, please.
Oh.
That and Star Wars. I'm sorry, but they just need to shut the fuck up. Just please stop. Please stop with the fucking Star Wars shit.
Yeah.
For me, like, it's a tough choice because then they'll either go with a reboot or a remake. And the problem with a reboot and a remake is
they both suck.
A reboot takes things in a different direction. A remake just does the same thing prettier.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And I think back to where if you're gonna redo a movie or something, back to what I said in a previous podcast, use the bones of an actual story and then build something completely new out of it. Like what I said, Neil Gaiman, who's done, he wrote the Sandman series.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote Coraline, which is actually it uses the bones of the Alice in Wonderland stories, and then he actually created something completely all his own with that. Mm-hmm. So I'm a huge fan of just using the bones of a structure of a classic tale. I think that's really cool. I think that's a really great concept. You know, he also did a reimagining using the bones of the Jungle Book, and he created the Graveyard Book, which I actually read. So basically, a little boy escapes the murder of his family, and he wanders into a graveyard, and the ghosts that inhabit the place there, they keep him safe for like 10 or 12 or some years. And he's still trying to escape his family's murderer. So I just thought that was a really, really cool reimagining of that classic Jungle Book tale. So I'm a fan of that kind of stuff, like using the bones and then build something new. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Should we go into the next topic?
What time is it? It's 12:26 right now, and I can't remember how long I reserved the room. But
until 12:30.
Yeah. So do we want to wrap it up then? Right now?
Yeah. Sure.
All right. Well, that was fun.
It's nice talking to y'all and talking to the audience.
See you next time.
Yeah, see you next time, guys.
Have fun.
All right. Deuces.